But I understood intuitively that as a 27-year-old who was broke, that the only thing I had was self-belief, a vision that I could cast, that others could buy into, that they could get excited about, that we could all galvanize around to push on and move forward. Notice as some individuals struggle with their tonality, their tone of voice, and they use the wrong words that indicate a lack of confidence. I notice this one a lot. They'll use I'm trying to, or we want to, or I hope to, right? These words that suggest it's a maybe. If I get lucky, then we're gonna do these things, right? It suggests something of a lottery ticket mentality. Hey, I'm gonna buy the lottery ticket and who knows, maybe I'll make a lot of money. Wanna join me, right? It doesn't inspire confidence, not to advisors, not to lenders, not to investors, not to brokers. None of them. We need to use strong language, sincere language, strong language. I intend to blankety blankety blank. We will blankety blankety blank, right? We will acquire 7-figure businesses in the logistics industry, right? We intend to consolidate the plumbing industry in the Southeast. I intend to acquire multiple 7-figure businesses over the next 5 years. Use words that suggest, not just suggest, that state your intentions, that demonstrate you have a sufficient level of confidence in what you're doing. I mean, let's level with one another for a moment. Just think about it from the perspective of a banker or an advisor or a lender or an investor. Any of these individuals you may be interfacing with. If you've never bought a business before, why should they bet on you if you're not even capable of using language that demonstrates your confidence in your own self or in your team? I mean, seriously, you have to ask yourself that question. It's always important to think from the perspective of the individual you're talking to, right? Always empathize with your audience. If you're not giving your audience a sufficient amount of confidence in what you're doing as an acquisition entrepreneur, then why would your audience want to reciprocate by helping you? You know, when I got started, I didn't have a lot of experience. I had no money, actually no business acquisition experience. I studied psychology in university, okay, not business. I worked in a family business, so I had some experience generally about business, and I understood generally how to sell myself, but I didn't have direct business acquisition experience. I didn't have industry experience. In other words, I didn't have experience in the industry that I was looking to make an acquisition in, and I was broke. I had no money, none. I was literally sleeping on my grandmother's couch, and then she graduated me into her guest room, okay? That's where I was in my life at the time. But I understood intuitively that as a 27-year-old who was broke, that the only thing I had was self-belief, a vision that I could cast, that others could buy into, that they could get excited about, that we could all galvanize around to push on and move forward. And so I was very conscious about the words I used and the language I chose in my communication, in my speech. I spoke as if. I spoke with a tone of voice that demonstrated a level of excitement and enthusiasm, but also confidence and certainty about where we were going. I wasn't always right in every single action that I took, but I moved confidently in the direction that I, at the moment, thought was the best direction to proceed at any given time. And so these are the characteristics from a communication perspective, from a language perspective, and from a mentality perspective that I implore you to adopt. For many of you, you feel comfortable communicating well already, and that's great. For others of you, maybe the communication piece isn't there as of yet. I recommend Toastmasters. Toastmasters is where you go and you'll get in front of small to medium-sized audiences, and you get to speak in front of people and practice your public speaking skill. You'll develop it in real time in front of a live audience. They're very receptive. They're very friendly. It's a group that's meant to foster confidence in others and help people build their communication confidence and their communication skills. So I highly recommend going to Toastmasters if you feel like you lack some of that confidence with regards to how you communicate, because you're going to need it if you're starting with no money the way I did. It just is part of what's needed. But when you communicate the right way, and by the way, communication skills can be learned. Take it from me. I used to be a very socially awkward individual, and I couldn't speak well. I couldn't talk well. I've developed those skills throughout my 20s and into my early 30s. You can do the same. Toastmasters really helped me. I've seen a lot of people develop their skills at Toastmasters. So that's an opportunity for you. But communicating in the right regard is probably the most important foundational piece to being successful in acquisitions entrepreneurship.